everyone, GMan on Business. Hope you're doing great today. I've been on a super secret project. Spent the week out in Colorado. It's a beautiful morning. Headed home, a couple hours out, and wanted to talk about a couple of things that have been on my mind as I'm driving across the country. I'm going to change the name of the series to GMan on Business from GMan on Sales. Been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of talking, and I think it's a broader perspective, and hopefully you'll appreciate that as well. Today I want to talk a little bit about the number 3 and executive teams and kind of building out an executive structure. The number 3 is significant for a lot of different reasons. Some of them biblical. For example, you've got the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit of the Trinity. It's the first number, actually, that forms a geometric shape, if you think about it. So a single point, number 1, 2 points, number 2 is a line. Number 3, though, draws a triangle. And frankly, the triangle is one of the most stable structures as well. So pretty interesting how the number 3 kind of ties into a lot of different things. The significance of 3 in an executive team, I guess, at least from my perspective and where I'm at today, kind of sharing my mind, I think it's important to have a leadership team that has 3 different types of strengths. One is the sales and marketing side, of course. You got to bring in new business. You've got to capture your audience. You've got to market the business, things like that. You got to connect with your customers. The second would be finance and front office. Someone that supports things coming in, things like purchasing, paying the bills, processing customer orders, things like that. So that's the second piece. The third would be operations. So the folks that are doing the work, that build the product, that install or implement, whatever the product is and what have you. That's kind of where the rubber meets the road. It's where the gears turn, so to speak. So, it's important to have those 3 perspectives, and folks that have experience in those perspectives, I think, are super helpful. It's almost like the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branch of the U.S. government. There's checks and balances there. If you're too heavy on one side versus another, there's going to be strife and conflict. If that trinity or those 3 folks are not focusing on and understanding what each are doing strategically, there's going to be conflict as well. I think it's just super important that executives teams communicate with one another and work together. And you really can't, when you're a small business, a single sole proprietor can do a lot, right? There's a lot of talent there that I appreciate, and I'm so envious of the grind that entrepreneurs go through to take an idea and then grow that into a business. But taking it to scale, taking it to the next level, requires different skills and different experiences. And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at here with this transformation to this trinity, if you will. A lot of times you'll have owners of companies and entrepreneurs and what have you that really know 1 or 2 of those items. They do it really, really well. But in order to grow, you need to have all 3 of those be very strong pillars. So let's take them one at a time and just talk real briefly about each of those. So skills and capabilities that you need for each of these 3 pillars, if you will. So let's talk about the front office and finance and that side of things. Of course, you need someone that's good with numbers. need to be watching, the sales come in, need to be watching expenses as they're going out, need to be very process oriented in terms of order taking and order processing. Need to be very clear on process for things like, when an order comes in, how does it get run through the system? What are the steps for that? Because managing that lever and knowing exactly where your orders are and where things are in the process is super important to be able to see and then be able to manage what's happening in that particular area. The other subcomponents, if you will, of that would be things like human resources. So taking care of the people and the overarching policies, kind of the guide rails of, where do we know when someone is off base versus, running within the boundaries of the company. So human resources, finding the right team members with the right skill sets that will complement and grow the business, the skill sets that are needed in the company, and then the company is attracting those skill sets. So that's a little bit about, that front office and finance component in this transformation from a small business to a larger organization. Second component, operations. These folks need to be great with people. They need to be really good with process. After all, like Henry Ford and the assembly line, you've got to put that in place so you can turn the crank and the product is going to fall out the other end, so to speak. It's got to be consistent so you can drive high quality. And again, those kinds of things, those kinds of attention to detail are important. But it's also important to connect with your teams, those operations teams, and then making sure that you're looking at those processes continually. Nothing is ever perfect. You can always do something better. Always have that growth mindset or that continuous improvement mindset. And then the third component would be, the sales and marketing and the customer interaction side of things. You need to have strong interpersonal skills. You need to have knowledge of communicating with different types of people in different types of situations. You need someone that understands, frankly, the other two components as well, because there are lead times, and then you have to put the science together to say to your customer, this is the lead time for this product, and you've got to stay bold on your policies. For example, you can't do one-offs with everything because that's not repeatable, that's not scalable, and those folks really need to be drivers of the business too, in my opinion. What are the customers saying? What are you hearing from customers? What is the market telling you? Who are your customers? And why do or why don't they buy? What's their customer journey with you? How do you improve that so that you can improve all of your interactions and also attract new and keep existing customers and grow those as well? So lots of things on my mind. Obviously, this is getting to be close to 9 minutes. I don't want to keep you much longer. I do appreciate you. I appreciate you all listening. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Go ahead and like my channel and put some comments down there. I'd love to hear back from you and see what your thoughts are. Again, GMan on Business. I hope you're doing awesome. Thanks.